Alright folks, welcome to another episode in the Fur Shed with Jinx. I'm going to show you guys how to process a bobcat. So you caught a bobcat and you want to skin that out so that you can either sell that to your buyer or for the auction, or you might want to just keep it for your own personal use. This is the first process of skinning your bobcat. Okay, so here's the bobcat that I caught. It's probably a second-year cat. It's not a real big cat. But the first process, if you want to do one for taxidermy purposes, what I do is I'll freeze those whole. But in my state, of course, we have to tag ours with the CITES tag. So you'll want to go to your government agency in your state and report your bobcat capture. And whatever your state makes you do, make sure you follow through on all of that. I just harvested this bobcat today, and in my state I can wait later to tag him, so I have plenty of time left to tag him. If you want to do a taxidermy, what I usually do is I make an incision right here where his tooth line is, and then I make that incision up to his eye, and I put it right through here on the underside. And what I'll do is I'll use a pencil or a pin, and I'll put it across there, and then I'll freeze my bobcat whole. I'll show you later what that looks like. Okay, the tools that you're going to need to do a good job, definitely need a knife, tail stripper, gloves, sharpener if you need a sharpener. The rest of these are extra. I have a tail knife that I use to split my tail, a pair of pliers if you need to grab the legs and pull. And then I use a rebar stake, sometimes along the shoulders. And then I have a puller that I attach to my tail. The other item you're going to need is definitely a gambrel, a hanging gambrel, and you'll see that later on. If you don't have one of those, sometimes you could use a rope and tie those onto the legs and maybe use a nail for the tree or something. But these are the basic items. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to get you guys this footage for you. I'm going to describe to you guys the opening up of the bobcat. So you do these basically just like you do a raccoon, more or less. I usually start with an incision right here at the heel on the inside, and I split the difference of the fur. So you see there's this white and then there's this gray. I usually try to go along that line till I get to the anus hole back here in the back. I like to use a little longer knife when I do that. That's just me. I feel like that longer knife, it'll help guide that longer, straighter. So here's the... And what I like to do is I like to cut from the inside around the foot. And usually a lot of times I like a longer foot because it helps with my pulling, but that's just me. When I go to put it on a board, I'm going to pull. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the inside. I'm just making an incision with my knife from the inside to the out. And now these will pull a little bit. So if you got a nice warm bobcat, you just brought it in from the inside, you want to do that and it'll pull really good. Bobcats, coyotes, fox will pull really well. So I'll just give them a little pull there. That's that one leg. And we'll do the opposite as well. And I'll do that on my gambrel. Alright, so we're going to do the other hawk. It's about like doing a muskrat. It's just like doing a raccoon. And not real difficult. And they have a lot of muscle on them. Not a lot of fat on a bobcat. I'm going to open this leg here, and then I'll show you the rest of the opening process. Okay, so you can see there that I did both legs on the inside, just pulled them real good. And then I'm going to do the rest of the work on the gambrel. This is usually when I like to do the gambrel. Okay, so this is probably the process that I'm probably going to be upset on my side, because I usually like to have my my other camera so it'll show you a nice closer look. So I'm gonna put one foot up there, pull a little bit, and we're gonna work to that tail. That's the next process. Alright, I slid it around for you. And we're just kind of, there's a tailbone that goes down through there. We're gonna be real careful that I don't poke a hole in it. I like to do more pulling than I do cutting on my cats, because they're so thin skinned that you just really got to have either a really good sharp knife and some lighting, and just kind of be careful. But I like to pull more than I do cut mostly, if I can do that. I'm going to do the vent on the inside here. I've got a good tug on it, and you can see there's not much there. This is going to be what we call the loose fur, or the vent area. So I just cut it from the inside out, and I'm going to pull. So a lot of this right in here probably will be trimmed anyways, so I'm not so worried about it. So far so good. I haven't made any cuts in my hide, which is the way I like to do it. And then I'm going to come down here all the way to the anus. I went underneath the hide, and I just pulled. And now I'm just going to work my way around a little more. So you can see I worked all the way around that loose leg. Didn't have any issues. If you need to use the other leg, I think I'll do that now. Okay, so that's pretty much the opening process. That's usually what I try to do until now. Now I'm gonna do a lot of pulling, but we're gonna get around to that tail. So the tail can kind of be tricky sometimes. You just kind of have to go to the top of the top part of the tail, find it. I usually poke a hole. I get my finger in it, and then I pull, and then I cut from the top. I just pull with my left, and I cut. Now I've got to do the tail now. So I've come down about a little ways. Now I feel like it's time to start working on the tail. I'm going to use my short knife, and you can see the white on that. Now I am going to cut towards me, so you want to be careful when you do this. But I'm going to make a small incision in the middle of the tail. And I just kind of cut a little bit, and that's all I need to do. This is not a real big cat, so I'm already halfway down the tail as it is. Now I'm going to use my tail stripper, and I use I usually use the top one. And then just grab, and I'm going to pull with this right hand here. Oh, you need a different one. There we go. It's important to get all of that bone piece, because if you hit that when you're fleshing, that's not a good deal. I have a long straight knife for my tails. You can still use your regular knife. You're going to go down through the middle of that, all the way to the end, and then pull. Now, that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm going to pull all the way down to the shoulders. I have a clamp with the chain on it. I use that to pull. That's what I'm doing now. You could use a rope with a noose. You could hook that on your leg. That works really well too. Or just pulling with your hand works fine. But I use that puller so much, it's like second nature to me. If you got one hand, just grab with one hand and pull a little bit. And then same way with this one, just pull a little bit. The main thing is the hide. Between the hide and the meat, you can see the perforation there. You want to stay on the top side of the perforation. Don't cut on the bottom side. That's how you'll poke holes in your fur. Okay? It's kind of important on a bobcat. So I'm going to poke on the top side, and kind of a thrust downward angle here. I'm helping you guys out. Hopefully this is good content for you, especially if you're new to trapping. And it doesn't take a real sharp knife to do this. Bobcats, like I said earlier, there's not a lot of fat on them, so they're really pretty easy to skin. But they're all, because they're thin, their skin is so thin, they're also easy to poke a hole in. They're just like a fox as far as the thinness of their hide is. Okay, so now you'll really get to see how my puller will work. So I'm going to pull it with my leg. Matter of fact, most of, if not all of that will pull. And then usually if I ever make a mistake, it's right around the shoulder area. Alright, so I brought my camera around to show you this process here. Usually if I ever make a mistake on my Bobcats, it's usually right around this area right in here, or on the inside right here, the two legs. I usually sometimes will make a small insertion right here, but I'm just going to kind of go around and I'm going to pull at the same time. Real slow. I'm going to put my rebar stake in just like I would a coyote. Now if you don't have a rebar stake, you don't need to have one, but that's just kind of how I do it. Right here is where it gets real tricky. You just have to take your time and just kind of make small cuts right where the hide from the meat. Now cut from the top side down. Just take your time. Now I think I'm about ready to poke a hole in him with my rebar. I usually go from the inside. Ow. Just like that. And I go down, just pull. Now I'll do it without, so you can see. Now see, it's real thin right here. You can see where my finger's starting to come through. A lot of times I'll use my thumb. Seems like my thumbs are a little bit stronger. See, I got my thumb all the way through, my finger all the way through, and then I'm gonna pull. And that's it. Grab your hand right here, and then pull up, and then on the inside, you're gonna do the legs. Hopefully this is good and informative for you guys. Hoping I'm not being too explanative. Some of it, I do a lot of these in the year and over the years. Some of this is second nature to me. So I just kind of keep pulling and I go. Now I don't like to do the whole arm. I usually will shorten up to about right here, usually about halfway. Now I'm going to make an insertion where the arm's getting ready to come out, and do a little circle. Now pop it out. There's your arm. I'm going to do the other one the same. Just kind of pull on it. The arms are the same way. I'll sometimes trim the arms up, and those get hidden into the hide when I put it on the board anyways. So I always say they don't buy them by the head or the arms, so don't worry about it. So I'm going to dock him right about here. There, that's that part. So we just cleared both arms, and now we're ready to do the work of the head. Okay, so now the head part, you're going to drop the ears at some point. We're going to drop the eyes. The main mistake on the eyes is hopefully we won't get what they call the big eyes. So I'm going to try and do my best not to make big eyes on my cat. Same way with your raccoons too. I try not to make the big eyes. I'm still using my foot puller. I'm about halfway. You can see the ears are right here really. I'm gonna come back on it later. I just keep kind of going down. Now it's about time for me to start splitting the ears. You can see the cartilage is right here. You can feel it. If you always kind of don't know, you just kind of work with your fingers and feel it. I like to hit it where it first starts right here. Now there's a blood vessel there. So I'm going to try not to hit that. See, I just got the ear cartilage. Hit it right at the lobe. And I usually grab it with my one finger. And I cut. Down and pull. I want all of that ear cartilage right here with my hide. For now. I'll clean it up later. That's one ear. I just did the whole ear. It just came out right there. Now we're going to do the second ear. Even I just didn't find it there for a second. You just kind of work it back. There we go. I got it now. There, I just picked up both ears. Now we're getting ready to do the head, or the eyes. So just go down along the jaw. And the bottom jaw I usually drop. It won't dry anyways, unless you're using a board. I kind of do it like a coon. But I might leave it on there just because, just for today, for you guys. So I'm right at the head and the eyes. Eyeballs right here. These can be tricky. I just start at the top and I usually just saw it down. Same way with this one too. Try not to get ahead of yourself. Take your time. Same way around the teeth. Up, I just hit a vein. So now I gotta do it quicker. Now I got that whole eyeball right there. You can just barely see it, and just kind of saw it back and forth. Same way with the teeth right here. Start at the top, work your way down. Just saw a little of the teeth. I'm about finished. The blood kind of makes it a little harder to see. But there's nothing you can do about it. Just keep moving. Now if you want to wash your fur, you're welcome to do that after you get done. And then just air dry or hang it to dry. If you have a fur shed or something, I don't take too much time to dry them. Alright, so now we have just the bottom lip. I'm going to drop it first. Like I said earlier, a lot of times I drop it when I get started on those, usually. There's the bottom lip. Now the nose is probably the easiest part. This will be the last of it. That's all that's hanging on there is cartilage. I'm going to go ahead and drop it. And that's the end of it. You can see the cartilage came out with it. The eyes are perfect. Ears are perfect. There's no holes on that hide. And there we go. We got it finished. Okay, there you go. So, in all, that was pretty good. Not too bad. Now, if you go to freezing them, now, like I said earlier, I'm going to tag mine. So, I'm going to make sure there's probably a pin or something in that eye loop, so that when I freeze it, I'll freeze it with the head up, and and the eyelid open. But this is usually how I freeze it. So I just would put him the way that nice and flat a lot of times. And not a bad cat. Got a little blood here on the top part, but apart from that, we did pretty good. So, okay, so here's the finished product. Here was a bobcat that we were going to leave on the carcass. Beautiful bobcat, nice, beautiful spots. Here's the eye loop that I had made. There's the incision on the eye, and then I put the pin in there, so your game warden can tag that for you. A lot of times they'll just go by, pull that, put the tag in there. They really like it like that. The other method was I just skinned it, so I rolled it, and then I put my pin through the eye hole. That'll freeze like that. Same concept. When they get ready to tag it, they just pull the pin out. Nice, helpful tip. It's nice to be on your game warden's good side. And I always tag all my fur, but I'm going to do this a little bit later. I could do that in my state. Of course, you're going to want to make sure that you know what your state regs are and follow those to the T. And I just thought I'd let you know that if that helps you guys out, that helps your game wardens out, and that helps the process go a little smoother, that's what I'm here for. That's the finished product. Hope you guys liked that episode. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, have any questions, comment down below. And look forward to doing more of these fur videos for you. If you guys would like, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm Jinx. Have a great day.